5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, a lot to cover as usual. A lot of fun stuff in the world and some really insightful stuff today. It's kind of unusual for me, but first I want to mention that Wednesday will be my 1-year anniversary on live streaming. Haven't missed one day yet. Don't expect to. And so we'll do our usual Wednesday morning, but we're going to have a noon Chicago time webinar. I'm going to host it right here. So if you don't have the link and you haven't put in your reservation, I would suggest it. But if you don't, this is where we're going to be. So it should be pretty easy. If you download the Periscope app, you can follow me, and it will notify you when it starts. It'll do that every day. And I have a few fans that do that, not many. But I do it. I do it for Scott Adams, and I listen almost every day. So don't just like and share. Download the Periscope app, and you'll be able to catch it on your phone. I optimize it for phone, FYI. So that said, let's get over to AI in retail. Excellent article, Jim. Really liked it. Is AI for real, or is it just a passing fad? And I would say both. Because a lot of it is. A lot of those companies, that are here today are gone tomorrow. And I've seen that in database marketing. I've seen it in digital. I've seen it in a lot of space. That your typical marketing company is going to be gone, especially in MarTech. But anyway, Jim has been to 3 shows lately, and he found 3 good case studies. And I'm always looking for case studies on AI because there's slim pickings out there. And the first one he brought up was Rue21. Now, I wasn't familiar with Rue21, so I went over to see what it was about. And it looks to me like mainly sort of jeans. I actually saw a girl walking out of a Culver's or Quick Trip yesterday, and she had these torn jeans on. Well, anyway, they're over here. They're right there. And they were all torn up in the front, and they weren't torn up in the back. And I have 2 daughters with me in the car, and I said, why would somebody do that? It's the fashion. Okay, well, anyway. So I can see why they would have trouble understanding who would want it and who wouldn't, because I wouldn't, and I can't understand why anyone would. But don't come to me for fashion advice. Anyway, the point wasn't that. The point was that Rue implemented an AI digital product, which was a testing solution to enable merchants to quickly determine which products would appeal to those targeted customers. And Jim makes the point up here, I skipped it, that nearly every retail technology, not just retail, nearly every technology is now slapping the AI moniker on their product. And I'm doing the same thing. Okay, but I'm going to give you the history of the AI term and why I think it fits what I'm doing better than what most people are doing. This one, like this one, because what they're doing is they're speeding up product information, and they also shortened its supply chain from 300 days. You realize it took them 3/4 of the year to get a product from the concept into their stores. Now it was taking between 90 and 120 days. That was way too long. And there's, I could have probably helped them knowing nothing about their AI platform. There's almost always simpler ways to do this, but, depending on how many stores they have and stuff, it might be the fastest to do some kind of AI. Can't say one way or the other. Second case study, and we've talked about this one, Walmart is using AI robots, and a lot of what they're doing is scanning the inventory. So they know what's on the shelves, what's left. They do it fast. They go through at night when nobody's there, and they're also starting to unload inventory from trucks, pick and pack orders, and they've enabled Walmart to put products at the right place at the right time. Wolverine Products, we've also talked about this one, handles Merrill, Hush Puppies, Stride Right, Keds. I remember Red Ball, Jets. No, Keds. I remember Keds when I was in like 3rd grade. I had to wear corrective shoes, so it was a big deal when I got some real canvas top tennis shoes. Anyway, they have a complicated business. They need to align customers across 86 different countries. Now, this one sounds like a great candidate for automation. So I applaud this one, and thank you, Jim, for the case study where we actually hear about it. Now, notice that all of those are primarily supply chain, and I think that's a really great, the UPC code and the inventory checkout management systems. Dominic's Finer Foods told me in 1988 that the companies that were waiting on that and decided that they would wait and see how it came out, that was such a powerful advance in inventory management that the companies that waited were gone. They went under, got bought up. It was they couldn't make any money. And so some of these technologies are disruptive, and a lot of times it's supply chain. And Walmart has been a big one in disrupting the supply chain and satellite tracking and all of that. That was partly how they walloped people like Woolworths and Ben Franklin and other old school retailers where Sam Walton actually worked. Okay, another interesting article. Roger Walkoff. I have to make a point here. Customer Think, when you compress the article to make it easier for me to read and highlight and show, never gets the author right. Jeremy Watkin is in the next 3 articles, even though he didn't write any of them. So maybe Jeremy's behind it. But if you're an author for Customer Think, they should really fix that. It's really it's easy to see that it's messed up, and it's messed up unlike almost every other website I ever look at for content. Okay, so Roger walks into his credit union, UW-Madison, University of Wisconsin Credit Union. Cool, eh? UWCU. And Roger worked at Kuna Mutual, which is another interesting company in Madison, Wisconsin. So, way to go, Roger. And I'd really like to hear from you about the National Speakers Bureau Wisconsin chapter. So he walks into his credit union, and the teller's just right there, which is cool. I've never seen that before. I mean, there isn't much of a screen at my bank in Heartland, but apparently they're just standing perpendicular to each other. And they had a nice conversation about how the credit union encourages personal development, and that was awesome. Contrast that with McDonald's. They bought that kiosk company, and they're putting kiosks up. You can order right there on the screen, and you don't have to talk to anybody. And maybe somebody will hand it to you and say thank you, but I don't know why. I'm sure they can put a conveyor belt out and, put your number up or something like they do at the DMV in Wisconsin. He also went to Marriott Gaylord Resort in Denver, and he was able to check in with the app. Told him, got a notice. I don't have that app. I might have to get that. Anyway, I think I was supposed to stay at a Marriott in Chicago, but I went to something on Outlier. I saved like $400 or $500. Anyway, for 2 nights. So he went to his room, didn't have to talk to anybody. Now, they made up for it in personal interaction along the way, other places, and I think that may make a lot of sense. Because a lot of times in check-in, there's a big line, right? So, but again, it's supply chain delivery more than customer management. And he did it all on his own. He chose to use the app. He chose to check in without talking to anybody. And so it's something to think about. What are you doing to get up and close and personal with your customers and clients? When you get the chance to talk, what are you doing to talk? And on that note, I'm going to call some people in advance of my webinar on Wednesday at noon Chicago time and invite them. And I'm also going to talk to them about going to Namoa, and maybe we can have a beer. We're going to have a meetup in Namoa in Chicago on probably on Wednesday night, and I hope to see you there. I'm John Miglosh. Have a great day.